in 6 minutes starts now.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. He says his rallies are a love fest. Donald Trump in Michigan last night.
What's going on is amazing.
But a new Quinnipiac poll says 50% of Americans would be embarrassed if he was president. 35 said the same thing about Hillary Clinton, though that same poll shows Trump leading the Republican race by 4 points over a surging Ted Cruz. Trump wants Clinton to apologize for saying ISIS is using videos of him to help recruit.
There is no video at all, and that's been now confirmed. And I would say that she should apologize. I would say she should, but she probably won't.
And the Clinton spokesman says he's right. She won't say that she is sorry. The U.S. soldier freed in that controversial prisoner swap with the Taliban goes to military court today. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Davey, Army Sergeant Bo Bergdahl will be arraigned at Fort Bragg, North Carolina on charges of desertion and misbehavior before the enemy. The 29-year-old walked off his post in Afghanistan in 2009 and was seized by the Taliban. He told the podcast Serial he left his base to hike to another Army base to report concerns about soldier safety to a general, and that he had hopes of becoming some kind of super soldier. Dave?
Rachel, no charges are coming, at least not yet. And the death of a woman in Texas found hanging in her jail cell after a traffic stop. Fox's Gernal Scott on the case live.
Dave, the grand jury in Waller County says neither the sheriff's department nor jailers watching Sandra Bland's holding cell will be charged. Bland's death was ruled a suicide coming after a confrontational traffic stop. Up to now, Bland's relatives claim they've been shut out of the process, but Special Prosecutor Darrell Jordan says he wants to change that.
We've asked before to speak with them, and we'll ask again. We would love to speak with the family.
The grand jury will reconvene in January to consider charges against the trooper who arrested Bland, Dave.
The woman who drove her car on the sidewalk in the Las Vegas Strip, killing one person, injuring more than 30 others, is on suicide watch in jail. Lakeisha Holloway told police she's homeless and was looking for a place to stop her car to rest. This is Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Guys, if you've been using or wanting to try Viagra but are worried about the costs, we have great news. Now you can finally get real results at huge discounts with our Healthy Men alternative to the little blue pill. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get results for a fraction of the price? Call today and get 40 pills for only $99. Others cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us if you want real results at the lowest prices. Never pay $15 a pill for Viagra when you can get real results for less than $3 per pill. Call 800-618-0945 today and save over $500. You can have those breathtaking, toe-curling moments again and again. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Call right now and we'll rush you your supply delivered discreetly to your door. Just call 800-618-0945. That's 800-618-0945. Again, 800-618-0945.
176 Jersey police departments will share $2.5 million in grant money so they can buy body cameras for their officers.
Body cameras hold both officers and civilians accountable for their conduct and serve to discourage inappropriate conduct on either side.
Acting State Attorney General John Hoffman says the money to buy the cameras coming from criminal forfeiture funds. We've told you the last few days how Atlantic City owes Borgata $62 million in tax appeal dollars. The city missed the deadline yesterday to pay it. Mayor Don Guardian says they can't afford to pay that all at once and could face bankruptcy. They also could end up with the seizure of some of their assets until it's paid. Guardian remains hopeful to reach a resolution. Trenton lawmakers remained at an impasse on how to ask voters about casino expansion in North Jersey. Two separate bills exist on the issue with significant differences on eligibility and revenue splits. The lack of an agreement could put into jeopardy whether the question makes it to the 2016 ballot. Get breaking news and weather alerts on your cell phone. Text news to 89,000. This is the Town Square News Network.
It's the first full day of winter here in New Jersey, and it is definitely not going to feel like it with high temperatures close to 20 degrees above normal, upper 50s to lower 60s. Periods of rain expected today as well through about the middle of the afternoon, but nothing too heavy, a stiff breeze up to 20 miles an hour or more. Mostly cloudy tonight, lows around 50 degrees, and another round of rain for tomorrow. Could be particularly heavy during tomorrow afternoon and evening's holiday getaway. Highs lower to mid-60s, record-breaking 70s for Christmas Eve, maybe with a few showers. I'm meteorologist Dan Zarrow.
From Harry Hurley Way in the world's playground to the broadcast pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame.
I want to congratulate my friend, Harry Hurley.
You're about to find out why Harry Hurley has been named to the Talkers magazine list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation. Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield, it's Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 1450.
Hey, thanks very much. Welcome back. Very pleased to tell you that Chuck Malamut is here for 25 years. This January we'll enter our 26th year together. Just unimaginable, actually. It's been amazing, and it's gone by so quickly. Chuck is here, our 25-plus year financial advisor to the Hurley in the Morning program. Chuck leads the Malamut Group at Morgan Stanley's Northfield office, and this program on a weekly basis is presented by Chuck, a financial advisor at Morgan Stanley. The information, views, and opinions expressed on this broadcast today are those of Chuck, do not necessarily reflect those of Morgan Stanley or its affiliates. They are current as of the date of this broadcast and are subject to change without notice. Neither the information provided by Chuck nor any opinion expressed herein constitutes a solicitation for the purchase or sale of any security. This presentation is for informational purposes only. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, member SIPC. Good morning, Chuck. A couple days before Christmas. Merry Christmas to you and the family, Chuck.
Good morning, Harry. Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you.
Margie, your family, your grandchild, Noah.
Thank you. Yes, I'm a proud grandparent.
And all your listeners, very, very loyal listeners, Harry. It's been, as you mentioned, 26 years now.
Wow.
Hard to believe.
And you've been doing what you do even longer than that. A couple of years more,
Harry,
at least.
It's closely approaching 30 years. It's just hard to believe. And, I listened to you on the way in this morning. You were kind enough to give me a little bit advance notice to the article that you were editorial, I guess you'll call it, regarding.
My weekly column.
Yeah, regarding Atlantic City. And I think, Harry, I need to take a step back here, and it'd be remiss if I didn't share with your listeners, what was happening as we approached the 1976, election for casinos exclusively in Atlantic City. And I remember a lot of local people, particularly obviously my father, may he rest in peace, and all the local hoteliers and the politicians. And Harry, leading up to the campaign as a just 20, 21-year-old, I was just, getting out of college, basically, going to North Jersey in advance of the referendum. And this is on basically any free time that I had, I drove with boxes of flyers and, was given a number of shopping malls to go visit and virtually paper all the windshields within the parking lots of the respective shopping malls in an effort to convince North Jersey voters how important gaming was for South Jersey, particularly Atlantic City.
And Chuck, in that era, we were coming off of the unsuccessful referendum of 2 years prior in 74, where statewide casinos were rejected for statewide use. So then the idea, and it was a great idea, was, all right, well, the statewide vote wasn't there. Let's do Atlantic City only. And it was smart. It was very smart. And North Jersey didn't mind approving it for Atlantic County because it wasn't going to be in their backyard. They kind of looked at it like a prison. Nobody wants to vote for a prison in their own neighborhood. So, okay, they wanted Atlantic City only. We won't vote against that. So it passed. Now, almost like Shakespeare passed his prologue, now here we go again. Only now it's through the hindsight of the whole state now knows the revenue of the past 35-plus years, and they think they have a shot on a presidential ballot with a very large turnout, because we know in Atlantic County, for example, we had 46,000 people turn out on November 3rd, 2015. For November 8th, 2016, it will be like 120,000 people or more voting in Atlantic County. They think this is the sampling where they could get this done. So this is really back to the future, Chuck.
Harry, one of the major problems that I foresee here is the fact that, and I hope our local politicians don't take this the wrong way, but certainly very, very much divided with respect to what they want to try to get accomplished here. And if you go back to the 70s, and Steve Persky mentioned this in his letter to the editor recently to the local press, is the fact that it didn't matter which party you were representing at the time. What was important for Atlantic County and particularly the city of Atlantic City. And Harry, I can remember the euphoria when the referendum passed in that first Tuesday in November, and it was like you were on cloud nine. It was the most amazing. It was the most amazing thing that I've ever witnessed as a young person.
And Chuck, I think even people that thought it was going to be big had no idea how big it ultimately would be.
Yeah, and I think what's important here, Harry, now is the fact that, and you said it very well. Just the traffic, the congestion, the infrastructure is just crumbling in North Jersey, and if I heard it correctly, they want to put this on the ballot, but they're not going to tell you where they want to put these casinos.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Well,
one will probably
be the Meadowlands.
In
we know
Jersey
that.
City.
And one will probably be at the Meadowlands.
Yes. So, but they're not telling us, and that's all part of the scam.
So I think the clarion call here has to happen is that the local politicians, and I know that you're not terribly in favor of a few, which I won't mention here. Basically, they need to get started, and the rhetoric has to stop, and they really need to work, together to make certain that this bill, one, doesn't get through and pass in its form, and two, doesn't get on the referendum. And if it does, then ultimately it's got to be defeated.
Exactly, which really is very challenging because North Jersey can outvote us. So that's where what I've been saying as this campaign is now underway. We have one saving grace that would be beyond our control, and it would just be beautiful, and that's if the Senate and the Assembly literally cannot agree and even put it on the ballot. If they miss this procedural vote before the end of the year, because if you vote on it in 2 consecutive years, you only need the slimmest majority, 21 votes in the Senate, 41 votes in the Assembly, and it goes onto the ballot. Governor can't do anything about it. That's the way it's set up because it's a question on the ballot. Another thing I would say is don't listen to anyone tell you, we just think it's a really good idea that the voters of New Jersey get to decide this important issue. The voters have to decide this important issue because the way it was set up, to amend this would be an amendment to the Constitution. You right now can only have gaming in certain parts of Atlantic City. Not even all of Atlantic City for that matter, but parts of Atlantic City. So to have it in another part of the state, it would need this vote, this ballot question. I don't trust the ballot question. I don't trust the way I've seen some of the sample language that they want. The Senate bill is terrible. The Assembly bill is even worse, and we have to fight it. Hopefully they won't even get it on the ballot, but we have to treat it that they will. And Chuck, that's going to require people that are articulate, that understand what this will mean, not only parochially for us in this area, but for the entire state, have to be ready to give up some of their free time and travel to groups in North Jersey and educate North Jersey on why this is bad for them, why it is bad for the state as a whole, and why this is the selfish agenda of a handful of politicians that want to be governor, that want to maneuver to do something that is in their selfish interests, but not in the interests of the entire state. I think, Chuck, we can win that campaign.
Harry, we have to win that campaign.
Yeah.
There's no ifs about it. The problem is as you mentioned last night, and again earlier this morning, with your hour with the mayor, the Atlantic City is obviously, I'm not telling anything out of school here. I mean, it's in serious financial problems right now, and this would just literally, break the camel's back, so to speak. And Atlantic City, I remember back in the early 70s, the old expression was the last one to get off the island, turn off the lights.
Yep.
And, so there's a lot of work, Harry, that needs to be done here. And, just this bannering back and forth with the politicians, particularly local politicians. It's, the word I'm trying to think of, Harry, escapes me. It's nothing short of disgusting. How's that?
Yeah, good. That's why I agree. I totally agree. This is just bad news all the way around, and we have to fight it. We go into the campaign leading. It's probably about 60 to 40 opposed to casinos in North Jersey. That's a good start, but they're going to have tens of millions of dollars to try to flip that narrative and to make I think what we have to defeat is we cannot allow a false narrative that this is very good for the state as a whole and that they're going to be helping Atlantic City. They have this canard that they're floating that this is about stabilizing Atlantic City. Then why are we so unhappy with it then? We're smart people. Mayor Don Guardian's smart. Lo Biondo's smart. Senator Vandrew is smart. Everybody listening, you're smart. You know when something's good for you and when it's not. So that's even a lie that they're saying that it is good for us. So we're not being parochial. This is bad for the state. And I'm being totally honest. It's really good for a handful of politicians. One that wants to be governor, another one that might not run for governor if it goes this way. And this is really what that's about. This is not about what they're advertising it as.
Oh, absolutely. Harry, it's not hard to read between the lines to figure out where this is coming from.
And, Chuck, I want you to know this is not your Christmas present, but I've autographed my column for you with a little personal inscription. I'd like you to keep that.
Harry, the picture, I'm not quite certain. That's
handsome.
Quite dated, a little dated, though. But I'll take it. Thank you.
That guy's handsome in that column. Just love him.
It's taken about 20 years ago?
Just love him. No, not 20 years ago. Just love. That's not my high school picture. Just love that man in that picture.
Your high school picture.
Unconditionally. Just love him. That's Atlantic City High School, 1978. I'm wearing my letter sweater.
Harry, so why don't we shift gears here?
How are we doing, Chuck?
Harry, I'll tell you what. Last week was I always like the expression, if you went away and came back, went away, took a week's vacation, came back, you'd say, well, the market was kind of a yawner. But when you really got into it and took a look at the volatility that persisted last week to the run-up with the Fed announcement, and ultimately, they're moving forward, or the moving forward statement as to where they think they're going to be. I mean, as we got Friday afternoon, couldn't come quick enough. As the market closed, and you walked out of there after being down 300 plus points, and you're saying, wow, like what happened here? Harry, if you take a look at the S&P, the Dow Jones, the Russell 2000 value, the MSCI EAFE, which is the developed, international markets, the MSCI emerging markets, and the NASDAQ, there are only two indices year to date that are up, that are positive, and what I just mentioned to you. One is the Russell 1000 Growth, which are your companies that grow versus paying out dividends to their shareholders, and the NASDAQ. All the other indices, Harry, have been marginally down, and you think about what has transpired over the past year. It's pretty remarkable that the market was able to withstand a lot of shock, so to speak. You think about it. The Fed raised 25 basis points just last week. As you kind of look backwards, 2015 was certainly a mixed year. We had markets in the beginning of the year, Harry, that were very, very tame. Not a lot of movement, not a lot of volatility. And then as we got into the second half of the year, we ended up with a lot of challenges, as we got up to where we are right now. And I think probably the most significant challenge that we were faced with that kind of put the market on its heels was what the devaluation of the Chinese, currency, and then ultimately, the lack of growth or the slowing growth in China and how that impacted, all the global economy. So, while, as I mentioned before, volatility was up significantly, and we continue to see that on a day-to-day basis. And Harry, I wouldn't be at all surprised if we continue to see that, during at least the first half of 2016. The average retail investor became very, very conservative. And the momentum stocks were the only stocks that actually, boomed. Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google, which is now Alphabet, the FANG as it's referred to. And if you took those out and you looked at the rest of the marketplace, the majority of the equities that make up the S&P 500, were down for the year. So, commodities, we've talked all about it. They are trading at, virtually 10-year lows. Oil, basically, all the projections were you're going to hold that $45 level. Well, we're at 35 right now, Harry, and today is the first time in a long time that I've seen actually oil up as we enter into the trading day. So if you kind of take a look at the market, what worked was consumer-related stocks, particularly, consumer staples or consumer discretionary, as it's referred to, technology, and healthcare. Energy, as we know it, Harry, was down year-to-date almost 23%. So that's obviously going to have a major impact, with respect to the averages. So, we always talked about geopolitical risks and how important it is with respect to the market. So, terrorism at this point in time, Harry, is obviously heightened. I mean, even if you look at yesterday, it would happen in Las Vegas. I mean, why would someone, take their vehicle with a 3-year-old child in the back seat and literally drive it onto the sidewalks onto the Strip in Las Vegas? I mean, what was this person thinking about? I mean, and now they're saying like this was a deliberate task.
They're saying she knew what she was doing.
So, you have those sort of issues. You have the ongoing refugee migration across all of Europe, and what has happened now is you have faltering growth across a lot of the emerging markets. So, in spite of all that, the U.S. economy, which happens to be the world's largest, although China would like to say that they are, right at our heels, showed that continual resilience, and as a result, that's why the Fed went ahead and made their move. And it's been 7 years, I believe, Harry, since the Fed made a movement, and even though 25 basis points doesn't seem like a lot, it's certainly more monumental than anything else.
Chuck, well said. Great assessment. Sobering assessment. We're going to take a brief time out. We'll be right back. Much more with the official financial advisor to the Hurley in the Morning program. For all of your financial planning needs, turn to Chuck and his group, the Malamut Group, at Morgan Stanley's Northfield office, 609-383-2010, 609-383-2010. Back in just a few minutes.
This is John Zarek from the law offices of John Zarek. Our team focuses our efforts exclusively on criminal defense law. Our goal is to provide you with the very best legal defense. We have law offices in Northfield, Atlantic City, Cape May Courthouse, and Wildwood. You can reach us by phone at 609-641-2266. Visit us on the World Wide Web at johnzarek.com, and that's spelled Z-A-R-Y-C-H. And please join us every Thursday here on Radio 1450 during the 8 o'clock hour when we address a variety of important criminal defense topics. We're the law offices of John Zarek. We care about you as a team. We are with you and your loved ones every step of the way. If you are facing a criminal or DWI charge that could hurt your standing in the community, damage your ability to find employment, or potentially affect your very freedom, call us at 609-641-2266 so that we can get to work together on your defense.
Atlantic Chiropractic Holistic Center is your total health resource for everyone here in South Jersey. Although they offer a wide variety of services and wellness products, each patient's treatment is tailored to fit his or her specific situation. Dr. Bob Gibbs and his staff at Atlantic Chiropractic Holistic Center take great pride in helping their patients overcome pain, achieve successful results, and live a happier, healthier life. They proudly offer chiropractic services, acupuncture, massage therapy, nutrition supplements, diet consulting, and their new state-of-the-art chair massage therapy. New patients will feel right at home. Existing patients already feel like family. Don't let another day go by without contacting Atlantic Chiropractic Holistic Center to relieve your stress and fix your backaches so you can live a happy, healthy life. They'll create a custom plan for your lifestyle and get you back to a better place. Atlantic Chiropractic Holistic Center, 6717 Atlantic Avenue in Ventnor. Call 609-822-1227 or visit achcw.com and start feeling better today.
Keeping exotic pets healthy. Hi, everyone. I'm Lori Young, brought to you by Curexa.
And I'm Mark Taylor, owner-pharmacist of Curexa, formerly Jersey Shore Pharmacy. Our name has changed, but our superior quality products. Compounding medication solutions from juniors to seniors to pets.
Exotic pets often have unique behaviors and complicated social interaction. Some species of large birds and reptiles can live 40 years or more in captivity. These exotic animals must be taken care of properly.
Most exotic pets have specific diet and housing needs. Regular checkups are needed because many exotic pet conditions are difficult to diagnose. It can be difficult to find a vet for certain animals, so locate a vet before buying one. If you are new to exotic pets, try to pick one that is not prone to medical problems.
When you have a medication problem, Curexa is your compounding solution.
Curexa prepares hard-to-find medications, customized creams, and specially flavored medication in easy-to-give forms for dogs, cats, and exotic pets. Curexa provides superior quality products with a caring, knowledgeable service.
Curexa, superior compounding excellence. For more information, visit Curexa.com.
At the corner of Arctic and Georgia Avenues in Atlantic City, Angeloni's 2 Restaurant and Lounge has been providing you with wonderful dining experience for the past 3.5 decades. Now owner Alan Angeloni is proud to introduce Mama Angeloni's Sunday Dinner. This is a fabulous $25 4-course dinner each Sunday from 4 to 11 p.m. You have 5 different appetizers to choose from: eggplant, mussels, red or white, long hot peppers in marinara sauce, fried calamari, or roasted peppers with fresh mozzarella. You have 8 different entrees to choose from: veal parmesan, veal marsala, chicken parmesan, broiled flounder, flounder franchise, fettuccine alfredo, and eggplant lasagna vegetarian. You also have your choice of house salad or a cup of soup. Your server will coordinate your dessert with the daily choices. The $35 and $45 holiday packages and happy hours are still in effect. At Angeloni's 2 Restaurant and Lounge, call 609-344-7875 to reserve. Hey, thanks. Welcome back. 27 minutes past the hour. Chuck Malamut mini segment. Then we have one more segment after the bottom of the hour break coming up. Chuck, by way of the Fed, anything worth talking about?
Well, Harry, as we mentioned just a few minutes ago, that they made their first move.
Yeah.
And it was certainly well telegraphed. No one, everyone knew it was going to happen. It didn't matter if you never ever read a local or on the internet reading. You really have to have your head in the sand to understand, it wasn't happening. So they made their move. They went up 25 basis points. I think what's really important here is as we look to the statement that they came out with, is the fact that they're looking at potentially, again, this is very, very early in the game, I think up to 4 additional hikes next year, which would raise that rate, from 25, and I'm being presumptuous here, Harry, that you go to 100, you go over 100 basis points, which, is basically signaling that our markets or our economy is in relatively good shape. Now, I know that you're going to, disagree with that, and I think a lot of people will. Certainly, as you mentioned in your article and talking with the mayor last night and just looking here locally, we are not positioned for any sort of rate hike based on what's happening, locally in the economy. But
isn't it unusual, Chuck? We were so inoculated. We were almost recession-proof, impervious to all the things that were happening, but now we are in a whole difference. A lot of people listening that don't travel or don't read a lot or know what's going on around the country, there are, very different stories. Real estate that's improving, economies that are improving. We're just not seeing it as much.
No, Harry, look, if you remember, and I'm going to, go back a little bit in time, as we were young executives in the casino business, and it was just simply amazing as the U.S. economy, was basically tanking.
We were booming.
It was just awesome what was being and then the old adage that, gaming is recession proof. Well, that's obviously not the case now.
I followed you. You were my mentor. I followed you as a senior hotel executive. Our annual capital improvement budgets just to fix up the property we already had that was fine and newer at the time was more than casinos are selling for now in Atlantic City. How crazy is that to process?
Well, Harry, if you add in the fact, what the value of the dollar is, is now versus what it was back then.
Yeah.
On a comparative basis,
on top of that,
it's even that calculation or that, mindset that you just mentioned is just nothing short of remarkable.
You're usually very good with numbers. I don't know if you remember. I'll give you one number, then I'm going to ask you to see if you remember a number. When I took over at Trump Castle Casino Resort by the Bay, the Crystal Tower Suites were just coming online. It was 102 or something like that, and you stayed in them, opulent, beautiful, magnificent, Steve Wynn caliber type suites. They were beautiful. That was over $100 million, just that addition. That's $1 million a room. You can buy a casino now in Atlantic City, depending on the situation, for $10, $15 million or less. We built under your direction so many things at the Golden Nugget that were added on. Just the spa and the beauty salon and a few things that you did on the third floor was more than a casino sold for, right? Or close to it?
Yeah, Harry, it was remarkable that we had, we had the opportunity and we had a lot of available cash to do the work.
Yeah.
And those are the sort of life lessons that you never get, quote, in school. And it's something that's, on-the-job training, and we certainly learned on the job very, very quickly. And yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, the property back then, you couldn't touch it. And now when you walk through, and it's not just Atlantic City casinos. I was up in Bethlehem about a month ago.
When we left,
awful. Awful.
When we did our final tour, you and I, of the old Golden Nugget, Boston and Pacific Avenue, things that we did were still there, like 30 years later.
Harry, they were, and I'll tell you, what I remember about the tour, obviously, the mayor of the morning knows everyone. So, and the fact that I was just the guy running the.
It was so funny, Chuck.
I was just the guy running the place. It didn't much matter, but that's okay, because time cures all. But I think I was pretty impressed, with the state of the property for the most part. It was in relatively good shape,
considering what
they had no money.
Yeah.
So I mean, I said, wow,
it was kind of pride.
This could be a steal at the right price.
Yep.
Assuming that you can convert it to a casino. We all know how that story rolls out now. That's obviously not going to be a casino moving forward. So, no disrespect to the local operators. I mean, I understand you want to take a competitor off the block, so to speak, but. And it goes, Harry, it was just amazing what we were able to do.
Never forget it. It was once in a lifetime. I think we knew how good we had it, but it was just, it'll never be again. What was happening then?
It was
that we were doing it at.
It was like going to Disney for the first time with your young children.
Yep. And you never saw it before, and you never see it like that again.
Yeah. So it was all good stuff, but we got back on Atlantic City, but we look at outside of this area with respect to what is happening, Florida, Arizona, California, Nevada, to name a few. Those economies are in relatively good shape, and that's, the Fed obviously had all their data points to make their decision to go ahead and raise rates. And I think, where the market might have gotten a little bit spooked, Harry, was the fact that, the decision was unanimous by all the members. It ends 7 years virtually of near zero rates, and the fact that they're implying potentially 4 rate increases next year. So that is at odds with where the market was, because the expectations were certainly lower than 4. So
But is there 4 at basically an average of 25?
Well, look, that's anybody's guess.
Yeah, as we go, we'll find that out. Chuck, let's get our last break in. When we come back, Chuck will talk about the oil, the energy sector, 2015 year in review, what happened that's sort of in the rearview mirror almost as we speak, and 2016, where we go from here. And to reach Chuck and his great team, the official financial advisor to Hurley in the Morning, the Malamut Group, Chuck Malamut, his team, 609-383-2010. To make an appointment, you'll be very, very pleased that you did.
Tracy Noble of AAA Mid-Atlantic predicts record travel later this week with as many as 2.5 million New Jerseyans going 50 miles or more from home. She says 90% of them will drive.
Gas prices this year have certainly played into one of the leading factors.
Indeed, the average price for regular in the state right now, $1.89 a gallon, the lowest level since 2009. Asbury Park mourning the loss of a beloved community member. We learned yesterday that 24-year-old Jamar Small, the victim of that Sunday afternoon shooting. He was a high school football star, returned home to Asbury after getting a degree from Texas Southern. He planned to coach young athletes and try to keep them from the streets. He leaves behind a 4-year-old son. A New York City police detective who served in Iraq and Afghanistan among the 6 Americans killed Monday in a suicide attack in Afghanistan. Detective Joseph Lem was a 15-year veteran on the NYPD. The military says the attack was carried out by a suicide bomber on motorcycle. I'm Matthew White. Get breaking news and weather alerts on your cell phone. Text news to 89,000. This is the Town Square News Network.
50 years ago, a gallon of gas was 31 cents. The number one song on the radio was Wooly Bully. But the biggest thing that happened was the opening of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glassboro. That's right, Bob's Little Sports Shop is celebrating their 50th anniversary. Bob's wants to say thank you to all their loyal customers who've been with them over the years. And remember the great Americans who sacrificed for all of us.
In the shadows of Old Glory, a white cross marks the grave. Lies a real American hero, one of the truly brave. This field is filled with heroes, marked with crosses and with stars. They gave their life for freedom that now we claim as ours. We should all remember these heroes and their deeds. When we were in trouble, they took care of our needs. If you want to see a hero, just drive outside of town to the Veteran Cemetery. They're buried in the ground.
Visit Bob's Little Sports Shop on Delsey Drive in Glassboro or at bobslittle.sportshop.com.
Start the new year with the Hero Campaign's Pledge and Plunge Challenge, presented by Shore Orthopedics. On January 1st, join the crowds at the Music Pier in Ocean City for an icy splash to support the John R. Elliott Hero Campaign for designated drivers. Challenge your friends and family to plunge too. Raise $50 for a free commemorative shirt. Register yourself or a team and donate at herocampaign.org or sign up at the event. You can also follow Hero Campaign on Facebook and Twitter. Be a hero. Be a designated driver.
This is Harry Hurley, and I'm with the Mayor, Charles Kane, owner and operator of the Auto Plaza, Egg Harbor Township. Mayor, tell your listeners who are looking for a car, why should they choose the Auto Plaza?
Harry, it's our full-service department, selection, and hassle-free financing alternatives that have set us apart for over 17 years. Over the years, we've been the recipient of many sales and service awards, as well as receiving an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. It's been a real honor for us. We are now serving a second generation of sales and service customers. Stop in today. You're going to love our staff and experience what makes us different.
For all of your automobile service, parts, and sales needs, call the Auto Plaza at 609-646-2447. That's 609-646-2447. And visit us on the World Wide Web at myautoplaza.com.
The Auto Plaza at English Creek. Roll with Mr. Tire.
Hey, thanks. Welcome back. 38 minutes past the hour. We are visiting with one more power segment today with Chuck Malamut, the official financial advisor to Hurley in the Morning. To reach Chuck, 609-383-2010, and you'll find out his perfected concept of total asset management coupled with the important asset allocation. It's all very, very important to do it the right way. And choose Chuck, and you'll be very pleased that you did. Chuck, in terms of oil and the energy sector, what can you say? I mean, obviously, oil prices for the consumer are beautiful.
For the consumer, it's great. I mean, it's provided obviously a much needed tax break with these very, very, very loyal or very, very low prices at the pump. Not only just it's heating oil goes across the board. The problem that we have, Harry, we're virtually taking now which was a fairly large sector of the S&P 500. And it's been, for lack of better words, it's been decimated. You're starting to see a lot of the smaller players, that have they were in drilling particularly, or they're virtually closing up. They're laying off, everyone.
Hey, Chuck, what happened here? Everybody's just accepting the fact that oil is now $35 a barrel. I mean, I know we've had advancements in terms of being able to drill sideways where you can get to oil deposits that you didn't used to be able to get to, and shale and all these different things. But what happened here? Do we have a glutton? Is there just
there's absolutely,
so much
yeah. I mean, when you look, let's go back to where we were last summer, where China finally revealed, a lot was happening within that country. So as a result, oil, is used, across across the world and everything that we do. So if we're doing less of what we were doing previously, and the supply continues at the pace it's been at, then it goes back. It's just the old supply and demand.
Chuck, see what you think of this statement. And I think there's a lot of truth to it, but I also think you can make a different case. But let me share with you. A caller called me the other day. I think it was last week, and if not, it was the week before that. It was recently. And the caller said, Harry, they got us tricked. Because it's not $4 a gallon anymore, we're happy it's $2, but it shouldn't even be $2. Is this low only relatively speaking, or is it low any way you look at it?
It's low, Harry. I don't. The bottom line is that there is not enough consumption to satisfy the supply line, and when that supply becomes where it is today, and the fact that you're going to continue to see that oil being taken out of the ground and produced.
Are we always, though, in the scenario where war or hurricane in Louisiana or anywhere else, interrupt, supply, where this trajectory could change like that?
Look, it can always turn on a dime. There's no doubt about it, and that is not being envisioned right now. One of the other firms on the street made a prediction just the other day, Harry, that they were looking at $20 oil.
Oh my gosh!
So imagine, from the consumer's perspective, that would be wonderful.
But they don't necessarily pass it along, though, do they?
Well, they are slow to reduce,
fast to raise,
and fast to increase. And it's and you kind of paraphrase that. If you looked at what happened with the Fed hike just the other day, the 25 basis points came out at slightly after 2 p.m. By 2:05 or whatever, within 5 minutes, all the banks were out there increasing prime by 25 basis points. In the meantime, we've heard from some of the big banks that we are not increasing the rates for for our savers.
What's it going to take, do you think? Maybe this is a really involved question, but generally speaking, what's it going to take for consumers to have confidence to spend where you now have this savings in terms of reasonable energy costs that were not long ago twice as much as they are now, but people are not spending confidently, so there's a lack of consumer confidence, Chuck?
Harry, there's no doubt about it.
What flips that?
I think stability. The fact that you do have a good quality job, and you are getting increases based, hopefully on merit, and hopefully it happens on an annual basis.
See, that is a very good point. People used to get regular increases. There are a lot of people that have been working years with no increase, and it's sort of, I'm not going to use this term new normal because it makes me want to throw up, but the new normal is like you should just be so thankful that you even have a job, let alone you think you should get a raise. You're lucky you have a job. There's 100 people that want your job. So we've really, I think, demoralized the workforce in America into feeling extremely vulnerable and expendable.
How about petrified? How's that work?
I don't think that's too strong.
No, and that the fact that we don't have enough time to talk about it today. We can chat about it next week, along with what I really want to do is give your listeners a recap of 15 and where we go into 16.
Good.
Is the fact that you're at 5% unemployment.
With the highest,
Harry, I'm waiting for you to say.
Sometimes I just want to let you have your glory, but with obviously
the
lowest
Harry,
work participation.
It's not my glory,
rate.
Harry. I'm merely reciting what is being put out there.
Right, but keep in mind, it certainly doesn't feel healthy like a 95% employment market, because while we're technically, literally by these, what I think are suspect numbers at 5% unemployment, we also simultaneously have, and you and no one else, whether you're a financial expert like Chuck or someone in the media like me, nobody can take this statement away. We are literally at 5%, but we also have simultaneously the lowest work participation rate in, some will say since World War II, but certainly since the 70s and even pre-Carter-ish years. That is an issue, Chuck.
Harry, undoubtedly it's a big issue. And
it makes it not a healthy 5%.
And that is why the consumer feels the way they do. And if you take a look at what we do on a day-to-day basis, if I sat back, Harry, and asked you, how did we do with the equity markets this year? Chances are you say, well, Chuck, it was very, very volatile.
Yep.
And we were down 15 to 20%. I think that's what most investors are feeling like at this point in time.
Which only because we do the show each week together, we know that's not the case.
Well, the case is obviously the market's flat. We've had extreme volatility. As we get into next year, we have to be very, very mindful of earnings, because if we don't get that revenue increase that's much needed, then the market's going to I think struggle a little bit.
And you're specifically talking about what you refer to as the top line.
Correct.
Because people are making bottom line because they've been efficient. They make cuts where necessary. They're being more efficient in spending, but they're making the bottom line, but they're not making the top line. So the top line in 2016 sounds like it's very important.
Harry, there are a number of factors, including, not that I want to get political here, it's going to be it's going to be a year of politics for sure. And I think that's going to have a major impact with the marketplace. And as I was chatting with a friend the other day, with respect to the economy, I said, wouldn't it be wonderful if businesses had an opportunity to operate as a business, and didn't have to look over their shoulder every day with our friends coming with new regs, new rules, new taxes, in an effort to get more of your pocket, so to speak. So with that, Harry, again, I want to wish you, your family, your listeners a wonderful holiday.
Thank you, Chuck. Same to you, my man.
And we'll be catching up with you next week for sure.
That'll be our year-end in review extravaganza for 2015.
We can actually chat about we won't go there because Brother Bill very early this morning sent in his weekly email, and Harry, unfortunately, you're running out of time, my friend.
I'm out of time. I was never in time. The watch has stopped. The winder is broken.
But you see how complimentary I am of you.
You're very kind.
They elected not to throw you under the bus.
I appreciate that. And Billy is. This was his week. He's still in striking distance. This was his week to make a big move.
It was, yes, for sure. Harry, thanks again for having me.
You got it, Chuck.
Have a good day.
Good to be with you. You've been listening to Chuck Malamut. He presents this program. Chuck is a financial advisor at Morgan Stanley. The information, views, and opinions you heard on this broadcast are those of Chuck, do not necessarily reflect those of Morgan Stanley or its affiliates. They are current as of the date of today's broadcast, subject to change without notice. Neither the information provided nor any opinion expressed herein constitutes a solicitation for the purchase or sale of any security. This presentation is for informational purposes only. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, member SIPC. We'll be back. Mini open forum segment if you want to jump in. Last open forum this morning at 609-407-1450. Dr. Bob Zlotnick making a house call in about 15 minutes.
Health Update with Robin Stoloff is brought to you by Atlantic Care. Healthcare you can believe in.
When it comes to fitness, are you on the nice or naughty list this year? Here's what Biggest Loser trainer Jillian Michaels says are some of our most common workout mistakes. Working out on an empty stomach, Eating something light and healthy about 45 minutes before we work out gives us more energy and endurance. Skipping stretches. We need to stretch for at least 10 minutes after we exercise to limit injuries and stiffness. I know all about that one. And there is avoiding strength training. Jillian says strength training is the most effective way to burn the most calories. Another habit that will get us coal in our stocking? Getting stuck in a workout rut. If we do the same workout routine every single week, our body adapts and stops progressing. These naughty habits can be easily changed, which can get us back on the nice list again. I'm Robin Stoloff for Health Update.
Health Update with Robin Stoloff is brought to you by Atlantic Care. Healthcare you can believe in.
Last Christmas, I got the best gift ever from Karen, a gift certificate to the Cape May Day Spa. I was so stressed from work that I really appreciated a whole day to unwind and relax. The Cape May Day Spa has these great private rooms, so comfortable. I had a massage, facial, and pedicure all in the same room. This year, I'm going to surprise her and give her a day of pampering at the Cape May Day Spa. They also have gift baskets of Aveda skin and hair care products. I found them very knowledgeable about what they sell, so I know I can rely on them to help me choose for Karen. That makes my shopping easy. And better yet, I just found out that between now and December 24th, I'll get a $20 gift certificate for every $125 gift certificate I purchase.
The Cape May Day Spa at 607 Jefferson Street is an award-winning spa. For your shopping convenience, the spa will be open till 6 p.m. through December 24th. You can also order gift certificates online at CapeMayDaySpa.com or call 609-898-1003. Happy holidays!
When disaster strikes, only one service is always there. Over-the-air FM radio. From blizzards to hurricanes, tornadoes to tropical storms, the risk of power outages, telephone, data, and mobile service loss could be dire unless you have your cell phone's FM radio chip turned on.
We had no power.
But we were informed and kept safe with the radio in our phone.
Protect your family, yourself, and anyone you care about with one simple yet significant act. Activate the FM chip in your cell phone.
Turn it on.
Visit freeradioonmyphone.org.
Happy holidays and Merry Christmas. I'm Frank Formica, owner of Formica Brothers Bakery, Atlantic City, New Jersey. I invite you to share Formica family traditions with customers, family, and friends this holiday season. With cookie trays for Christmas, our famous cranberry walnut raisin breads, pumpkin dinner rolls, cannoli, biscotti, tomato pie, and handcrafted Italian breads, there is something for everyone at Formica's this holiday season. Visit our cafe at 2310 Arctic Avenue, Atlantic City, located next to the Walk, or on our website, FormicaBrothersBakery.com for more information. We will be open on Christmas Eve until 5 p.m. On behalf of my fellow business owners, I encourage us all to shop local. May you find this holiday season wrapped with family traditions as we celebrate the gift of family and friends. Thank you, and Merry Christmas again.
We're back. It's 53 minutes past the hour. As promised, your phone calls until the top of the hour, 609-407-1450. Ladies and gentlemen, it's like a warrior. Chuck is the warrior. Don Hurley nicknamed Chuck the Warrior. And Chuck just put on his jacket because when he comes in to do the show, he takes off his suit jacket. He doesn't loosen his tie. That's like Superman. That's all perfect. Hair's coiffed. Has his own personal headset. He takes off his beautiful suit jacket. And then when it's time to pack up, he packs up his briefcase like he's Superman. It's like a superhero getting ready. He puts on his suit jacket and away he goes. Ladies and gentlemen, Chuck Malamut has literally just left the building. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. You're on the air.
Harry, why does our local Democrat assemblyman sponsor a bill for windmills off Atlantic City?
Because he thinks it's a good idea that we have casinos in North Jersey, and he can't do anything to stop it.
Right. Yeah, right.
Okay,
yeah,
that's
thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's bizarre one. It's like Obama telling you that we have ISIS lopping off heads and crushing the world, and especially Christians. And you have Obama saying climate change is the greatest threat that we are, faced with. They are radical. Their agenda is not even remotely within the mainstream of the American people. But for some reason right now, in this bizarro world, the fringe radical left, somehow their agenda is getting all the oxygen in the room.
Right. And the other thing, a bill to make small businesses pay sick days, while our public employees, when they retire, get paid for so many of their sick days, which ought to end anyhow.
Yeah, I saw a piece of legislation. This was the day after Whalen said there was nothing he could do with stopping casinos in North Jersey. What he was proposing was just so preposterous that you just would laugh if you don't want to cry first.
Right.
And this is what we've got right now. Fortunately, nearby, Van Drew is a lot better guy, and
I'll call.
He's going to have our back where our own guy doesn't, and that's really it's really sad.
I know.
But look, if it's a plastic bag, he wants to tax it. If you wipe your hiney with it, he wants to tax it. Right. I mean, if you want to try to employ people, he wants to crush you. You raise a very good point, and we didn't really further it. When you talk about making small businesses have to conform to very onerous types of mandatory, compulsory type requirements, it really is the difference between a business that can stay open or may have to close, or a business that may have to lay off a few people. If you just would leave them alone, the free market is very good at sorting these things out, Carl.
Right, and then what? More people leave the state, more businesses leave the state, and they scratch their heads and say, why are the people leaving the state and why are the businesses leaving?
Right, because they're kicking them out. They're showing you the door.
Right.
Then they saw, look, they're really one of their most sick, insidious ploys. Well, it wasn't a ploy. They enacted it. They saw that a lot of people were leaving the state. So then they put a penalty that when you sell your home, they get to bite you one more time like a vampire out the door.
5%, right?
How sick is that? That you have to leave because of them, and then because you have to leave because of them, they tax you one more time.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And they think that's fair.
It's not. Of course it's not fair.
And look, we're lucky so far they haven't gotten away with this gas tax hike because, they're just dying to do that.
Yeah, and then they say, well, 5%. We want 5 cents of the gas tax to go to transportation. You mean that 13.5 cents doesn't go to transportation?
See, that's the whole point. The Transportation Trust Fund is broke because of their insatiable spending appetite. We pay more than we should to upkeep the state already. Their solution is always to find a new way. Hey, your tires wear out. Every time you get a tire, that's another $1. What kind of fool thought that one up, Carl?
Well, more revenue, and planting trees in Pleasantville or some lighthouse in Cape May, transportation funds.
Right. While literally they're burning down our county. If we get casinos in North Jersey, they're literally like arsons, just torching the town. But then they have time for these foolhardy bills that they sponsor that don't mean anything to anyone except them.
Right.
Because they got it all figured out. They've got their pensions. They've got their safety net. They've got the game is rigged. They win, we lose.
Right.
All right, Carl. Let me get in one more call. Have a great day. 609-407-1450. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Harry. This is Al.
Hey, Al.
And you had a great show, 2 shows last night, and great information that came out.
Thank you. I agree. And we have another one tonight, Senator Jeff Andrew in the 6 o'clock hour, and we will be bringing up this issue of keeping casinos out of North Jersey.
Very good. Okay, I'm going to let you go on.
Thanks. Al, as you know, and you're a leader in this regard, that is our biggest obligation in 2016 is for every single citizen to do everything they can to defeat this question.
That's right. And we really have to get to the citizens of North Jersey and let them know what they're in for.
Yep, that is bad for them. That is bad for all of us. And we have to treat this like our life depends on it, because it does.
That's right.
All right, Al.
Okay.
Stay close.
Take care.
I'll see you. Hope you'll be with us tonight. Please don't miss the program tonight. Ask the Senator. It's very important. We need your participation. You can tweet your questions. You can email your questions at WPG1450.com. You can email them to me at harryhurley@AOL.com. You can call in tonight in the 6 o'clock hour at 609-407-1450. 1450, Ask the Senator, our regular monthly program with Senator Jeff Andrew, tonight for the full 6 p.m. hour. And I look forward to being back here with you. And we will be working tomorrow, and we will also be working on Christmas Eve Thursday here on Early in the Morning, off on Christmas, working New Year's Eve as well, and off on New Year's. Back in just a few minutes with Bob Zlotnick.
Atlantic City, WSJO HD2, Egg Harbor City. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. He's still the Republican frontrunner.
Amazing.
And Donald Trump last night, cheered by thousands in Michigan, said it was a love fest. But a new poll that has him on top of the Republican race also shows 50% of Americans would be embarrassed if Trump was president. 1 in 3 say the same thing about Hillary Clinton. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, the new Quinnipiac national poll shows Trump leading the GOP race with 28%. Ted Cruz a close second with 24%.